Obviously, we're not on Fallout. We are demoing over Planet Crafter. I wanted to actually finish a map before I streamed it. So, main screen. This is super easy learning curve, super relaxed game. Um, Sorry, I'm not gonna say I 100% completed it because I didn't, but I put about 42 hours, give or take a few, into this match. To get extraction done and everything else. So, this is my planet right now. I have just a standard. I am going to spoil a couple things not relevant to the game, but I wanted to actually show the size of a few things so you guys have kind of a little bit better on how to set up. You can extract at 5 TTI. You're not going to have anything what that means for a minute, so I'm just going to jump in here and give you a quick rundown. Alright, so there is a ton of stuff to set up. There is these random racks all around. You can see I've got trees and stuff, which is one of the things. This is your extraction platform. There are lakes and stuff. You won't have them. So, a couple of things to realize. This is one of your smaller platforms. These are your heaters. They are colossally huge. So try not to overcrowd yourself. I don't even think you can hear me over the in-game. Hang on. Audio. Let's run that down a little bit. Because none of that's relevant to anything. Alright. Sorry. I'm just watching my audio bar and it's freaking out. These are tier 4. No, that doesn't mean much, but there's a tier over that, which means they're even bigger. These are tier 5 heaters. They are huge. These are nuclear reactors. Not a big deal. I won't go into that. These little tiny guys are your fusion reactors, and they are way better. This is one of your rocket platforms, so obviously this is huge. One of the primary things, I planted trees, and I planted them way the heck too close to my building, so I actually had to move them out so I could get into some of these buildings, because they don't care. They just grow. And pretty soon you're like, okay, nothing fits anywhere. So, you want to make sure that you've got room for your heaters. They start inside and then later go outside. Your reactors, or your power generators, you start off with wind turbines and solar gens. I'm not going to go into any of this because I'll do that on the way. This is my storage locker facility. It is probably twice as big as it needs to be, but I didn't know. And then over here, we've got where we grow food, some of our electronics. This is something that you unlock. So this is monitoring your oxygen, your heat, your pressure, your biomass, and your overall terraformation levels. And obviously, none of these numbers make any sense to me, but I know how they work. So you get an electronic interface saying what's consuming how much wattage, how much your overall is, and what you have available. And obviously the lower tiers are worth less. So, a couple of spoilers. I'm not going to go into most of this. We are going to get off this because this map is done. Here's some more tier 4s that I've got scattered around. You start actually in the bottom of this lake. I'll point out in the bottom left corner, you've got your food, your water, and your oxygen level. Under that 370, we've got the infinity sign, meaning I have infinite oxygen, as long as I'm, above water. Otherwise, it starts decreasing. There's quite a lot of upgrades you can do for your oxygen tank, stuff like that to make your air last longer. Backpacks sizes, a few other things. We'll get into all of that, but when you start out, you don't have a breathable atmosphere. You don't have planets. It looks like a sand dune. So, skipping out of there, we're going to exit out. We're going to set up a new game, and then I will show some of the options here. Terraformation pace, you can speed up or slow down. Vitals, meaning your food and water, you can speed up or slow down. Weather events, higher values, higher occurrence of meteor events, that's useful. Power consumption, when you're starting off, I mean, that's definitely a limitation, but if you run that down, you just cheese your way through. This should be the default setting, so I didn't realize this was in here. Higher value will slow down the pace of terraformation depending on the number of players. I thought it just dropped. So you've got standard, intense, so when you die you drop some items to every item in your inventory gets destroyed when you die. Oxygen, health, and water decrease a bit faster. Hardcore, your save file is completely deleted when you die. Well, that sounds fun. I think I died once, and I think it's because it glitched out, so that's not actually as bad as it sounds. All the recipes are unlocked. Auto crafters are unlocked. Drones are unlocked. Ore extractors, space trading, teleports, and randomized ores. Randomized ores, like you have designated biomes that have designated things, so that would really make things weird. Dying consequences, we kind of already covered that. Deletion of save, lose all items, no consequences. This is the default settings. So, we're just going to jump in and do this one for our streaming. I'm going to create this. It'll take a minute. I'm going to load it. You see the difference in the planet on the right there. So, let's go ahead and load in here.
Emergency. Correct your trajectory. Imminent impact. Imminent impact.
Alright. So, terraformation index in the top right. Nothing. Objectives: craft a tier 1 backpack, equip the backpack, craft an oxygen tank, equip the oxygen tank, and construct a construction ship. When you're in these little habitats, you have oxygen, they produce Atmo. Basic crafting station, so oxygen capsules, everything requires core resources, we'll go over that momentarily. Refills your oxygen tank, refills your water. Microchip construction, this allows you to build stuff, this allows you to take stuff apart. This gives you a flashlight. Tier 1 backpack increases your inventory size. And Tier 1 oxygen tank increases your capacity versus this one that just refills your oxygen bar. 2 seconds, I'm going to turn off the air conditioner so it's not blowing in my mic. Enjoys the live streaming, I always forget to do something. So, inventory controls, standard movement controls, WASD or arrows, whatever you're set for. Tabs your inventory. Shift is sprint. Q is one of your construction build menus. F is your flashlight. And then your left click is construct, mine, or, target. And then your wheel actually will change your angles and stuff. So, start here, you've got oxygen, water, some food, and a plant seed. You can't do much with that yet. Outside, the resources are all on the ground, all available. You just have to learn what they look like. So this looking one is silicone. This is ice over here. We have titanium. more titanium. This is magnesium. We've got cobalt, and we've got iron. Those are your core resources. You will find blue chests around the world. They have random stuff in them. You will also find random gold chests. Gold chests have much more valuable stuff in them. As you can see, we're no longer in our little house. Our oxygen bar goes down pretty quick, which is why they said go craft stuff. Need a magnesium. So we just went up like 45 points. Microchip, construction, 2 silicone, 2 magnesium, 3 silicone and 3 magnesium, 4 silicone and 6 magnesium. Now, like I said earlier, this is technically later will be under the middle of the lake, so most people build up on this plateau up here. I thought as much. I'm out of inventory space. If you're out of inventory space, it'll tell you, but after a while, you get a pretty good feel on how many slots you've got. Alright. Construction. There we go. Decon, we need another magnesium. There's one over here. Couple more over here. They do like to hide stuff in random places, so it's always better to scout around. Pretty sure there's another blue chest off over there. I believe there's 6 gold chests through the whole map, or at least it was before the last update. I know that last update added some stuff. So let's jump in here. So, tier 1 backpack, we just added another row. You only have so much stuff you can equip simultaneously. Right now we don't need a flashlight, so we're just gonna store the flashlight for now. It says craft living compartment and craft compartment door, craft a tier 1 drill, craft a wind turbine. So this is Q for your construction menu. Living compartment. The living compartment does not come with the door, as frustrating as that is, so you have to make the door. I recommend anytime, especially as you're starting out, when you can, carry the resources for these two. So you're looking 2 iron and a titanium. So you're looking grand total 3 iron, 2 titanium, and a silicone. If you can keep those on you, then if you ever start running low on air and you're nowhere near a base, you can use that to plant down another building and restock your air supply. So, and especially early game while you're, trying to get around the map before you have the stuff, it's super helpful to be able to do that. Need another titanium. I know there's a bunch over here, so we'll just go grab one of these. Now these resources on the surface do not despawn or anything else, so they're just here. And even after you bury this under a lake, you can still totally get in it. So we're gonna grab a couple of things here. Actually, we're gonna put one of those back and grab that. So we're gonna head up a hill over here. Back up to our plateau. You don't have to do anything large to start. One of the things I will say is my first map, I did a lot of time kill exploring stuff that I didn't necessarily necessarily need to be exploring at the time. I wanted to go find all the biomes and do everything, and later I realized that was not beneficial. So, obviously, you can't set them in the ground. There we go. Now, I will say, let's go grab another titanium, a couple of iron. There's not a ton of iron up here. After a while, you get a kind of a feel on where you left resources and all. So there's our warning low power sign, just saying we don't have any power, so not that anything's using it, but we don't have it. If you were to build another building, you can snap them onto the side. They're a little finicky sometimes, but what that does is opens an internal door. So later you can get bigger modules that don't have these awkward connectors. But for the moment, we need a wind turbine. Wind turbine produces energy. This generates pressure by releasing gases in the ground, so 0.2, whatever the minuscule number they use is, per second, at the cost of half point of energy per second. So if we make one of these, that's 1.2 energy per second, we can craft 2 of these. So we need 3 iron and 2 titanium to get started on that. Three iron and 2 titanium, I said? No. It's 2 iron and 8 titanium. 3 iron and 2 titanium. My brain is not working today, sorry. Okay. Find another iron here. My graphics are turned sizably down, so it's not like I can see all these from a long ways away. I would recommend turning your graphics up when you can do that, because it's quite helpful to be able to see things at a distance. It's weird. So, green means you can put it there, red means you can't because it's obstructed. If you plant this right now, it'll tell you low power. The other thing I will say is it says defaults control. If you have the materials, oops, 1 second. What do I get for talking? If you have the materials, you can hold control and just spam click those out. So here's our window. Power restored. There we go. Now I can tell you already we're going to need some more of those. So I'm going to go grab a couple more iron pieces just to get started. That sound means there's asteroids coming down. They will hit you. They do not feel good. Which is good to be aware of. And obviously, like, there's no reason why those should work like that. These are made of custom resources. I feel like... Oh, that's better. I don't know why that didn't turn down with the master. Anyways, you can actually go and collect some resources from them when all is said and done. We are supposed to make a heater, which requires uranium, so we'll get that momentarily here. And then we need the screens and the tier 2 craft station. Great. Craft screen progress, craft screen. So they want us to get all of these up. Iron, cobalt, silicone, the usual things. You need silicone for literally everything, so... there's a bunch of it back behind, but still. Silica. And we are getting low on water, so that's going to be chug a bottle here in a second. As soon as we get our crafting screen up, we can make some, but we're not there yet. Alright, so some of these, if you hold control and rotate, you can mount them on the wall. Now we need the craft screen progress, craft screen blueprints, so we need another iron, 2 iron, silicone and magnesium. Oh, didn't drink that. Another silicone, a couple iron. One of the things I will say is if you're clearing out the area where you plan on building, it's a lot simpler because you don't have obstacles in the way. And you can see in our top right, 71 Ti, we are slowly going up. It scales up at 1,000 to the next tier. So our first benchmark is reach 175,000 Ti. And that gets rid of the sand effect going up top. Now this one, it'll show you it doesn't mount on the wall, but it'll mount on the floor. Depending on how you want to do this, you can actually make a desk to have a place to put your screens on. Obviously, like most games, if it's too far forward, too far back, whatever, it'll squawk at you. Now I probably need another iron, because that's how that works. Early game, you can scale up pretty fast. But definitely, like, don't take your focus off of leveling your heat, leveling your pressure, leveling your oxygen. Yes, you need to, you know, explore and need to clear stuff out and figure out the biomes and stuff like that. I'll do a run through on some of that. But if you focus on that more than you focus on just aimlessly running around, because I found a lot of cool stuff and I literally didn't need it until the very end of the game. The time I spent exploring didn't exactly help me early game. And of course, if you've already got a biome map, then you're good anyways. But energy level screens, blueprints. So these are master blueprints. They are all locked. Go figure. So this one's at 300 Ti. We get the tier 2 backpack. This is part per trillion for oxygen. This is based off of heat. This is based off of pressure. Now, when you get into plants, there's a similar system, but that's way later. So, right now, we've got a little ways to go. We'll get our backpack. I already know we unlocked something, but I don't have my crafting screen. So for the moment, we'd have to do that down at the other one. I don't remember when we unlocked that off the top of my head right now, because it says craft screen progress. We need to do a vegetube, iron and magnesium. Here's a magnesium. Should have some iron laying around back here. This game is very much designed when you hit a certain tier to break stuff down and upgrade it to the next tier. So that's one of those things like, okay, we set this up this way, but it no longer is necessary. Okay, veggie tubes. So you open these, and you put seeds in them. When you put seeds in them, they produce oxygen. So 0.15 part per quintillion, I believe that is, per second. at the cost of a third of a kilo. Now, when you get better plants, they will actually give you an oxygen multiplier. So then you can start scaling up pretty reasonably on those. Heaters, we need iridium. We do not have iridium currently. Iridium is in that over there. So, if we're going exploring, we need 3 iron, 2 titanium, and a silicone. Obviously, as you get further into the game, you've got better oxygen and stuff, you can go a lot further without needing houses. So I suggest pulling those as necessary. I need 1 more iron. But as a whole, especially early game, it was definitely designed to give you that little bit of push it as far as you can and then bail. Early game, you don't really have a lot of food. All of the wrecks scattered around the map do have a lot of good water, food, resources buried in chests, lockers, that kind of thing. Iridium is one of those that you're going to need at all game. These are all basic resources. The basic resources later you get to craft, you know, specialty resources, alloys, that kind of thing. But you need iridium for a lot of things. There's uranium in here, which you need for a lot of things. And then super alloys, when you hit that point, are like, okay, we need these. So iridium, we're going to set up our house over here on the flatland where I set up the last one. Iridium is red glowing rock. There we go. So this here is iridium. It is found everywhere in this cave and in this environment. That is aluminum, which we also need early game. Generally found in either the aluminum biomes or specialty zones like this one. Ice, we don't need as much right now, but we need ice to turn into water. So that's one of those things. And I'm like, we're getting full. As long as you've got a house in the different zones, you can, you know, hop to and from without running out of oxygen. It's generally good. Now you can build crates and plant them down along the walls so you can loot an entire area and then bring it back to the main, or leave it there and just know that your iridium is in your cave. Later you get better means of doing that, but to start out, you're crating everything and, you know, harvesting whatever resources you need. Later you get agility boots so you can run faster, you get jetpacks so you can fly faster, that kind of thing. When you hit the tier 5 and 6 backpacks, you're like, alright, we're good forever. Alright. Here, uranium, and as things unlock, it'll pop up saying new blueprint received, just telling you what it is. Then you can go in here or into your blueprint menu and actually look at those. Need another iron and silicone. And I'll hop over here. Tier 2 backpack. As soon as you unlock backpacks, oxygen tanks, things like that, definitely get them. They make your life so much simpler. There's our iron and our silicone. So at this point, we're down a quarter of our water left, and we have no water. Obviously, that's a slight concern. Also, in the bottom left, underneath your 2 bar is coordinates. Those are helpful. So this little guy, just planted anywhere, it tells you that it's making 0.3 pk a second of heat that costs a kilo, and, well, we have a 3.35 kilo demand and only 2.4. So obviously we add another 1.2 to that and we're good. So we need to make another wind turbine. We need another iron, and we're getting low on water. I try to group all my stuff together. Obviously, like I said from earlier, if you group them too close together, some of the time you end up blocking yourself in, and it's really frustrating. Power restored. We're going to jump in here, get some air, and then we're going to go get some water before we die of dehydration. What sucks is if and when you somehow lose one of your buildings, and then you panic because you're like, I need to get air, I need to get water, I need to do... You're like, So, I mean, paying attention to your coordinates can help, but at the same point, some of the time it is what it is. I already feel like I'm off track, because I am. I feel like I landed in a slightly different place this round than I did the first one, so that's a little interesting to me. Alright, so we need this screen here, so we can craft some water bottles. Need 2 iron for that. Go grab a couple of iron here. Alright. You can tell right now we're moving right along. We're at 400 Ti. Now, when you build an upgrade, it doesn't actually auto-upgrade. We already did this, so this is just demonstrations, but sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't seem to auto-upgrade. So, on your mouse wheel, on the right-hand side on your round there's a hammer, which is your build icon. This, which is just kind of like a general, I'm assuming you just use it for harvesting, but you can harvest on a hammer. This one with the X is a deconstruct. So, you can't deconstruct chests if there's something inside it. It'll pop up an error. But if you need to break stuff down that you've built, the cool thing with this game is you get 100% of those resources back, which is phenomenal. I don't think I've ever played a game that returns 100% resources. But it's designed that way so, you know, you can harvest and not run out of resources on the core. It's extremely helpful. It's just, it's different. Inventory full. Alright. Cool. So now we need to set up our tier 2 crafting station to unlock some other upgrades. That'll be huge. Alright. Screen, progress. Don't care. Got all those. So we need this guy, which is our general crafting station, which coincidentally requires more power. welcome to the crafting system. So now we can make our tier 2 backpack, our tier 1 exoskeleton, which increases our carrying capacity for our this side. So we need a silicone, a titanium, a cobalt, and a couple of magnesiums. Silicone, magnesiums, and we're out of inventory space. So this is where that gets annoying, because we don't have the stuff to do anything. But you can go into your inventory and just drop stuff. Not necessarily the best way. If you load out, it will despawn. So for simplicity at the moment, what all did we need? We need an iron, 2 silicones, 2 titaniums. I said it and then I forgot it. 2 iron, 2 silicones, and 2 titaniums. Okay. Iron, 2 titaniums, 2 silicones. So let's see if we can grab 1, 1, and 1 for the moment. Alright, back to the building. So that one auto upgraded. Oh, we just need another titanium. A whole bunch of those just over here. Sweet. So obviously you can see our backpack space went up. At this point, we're starting to get some stuff accumulating. So the first thing we want to do is get some storage going, which is iron. Really need to build a couple of expansion rooms, which is probably what I'll do. So to do expansions, we need 1 silicone and 2 titaniums and 3 more iron. Actually, we don't, because we're just building rooms, so we need 4 iron and 2 titanium to start. We've got 1 iron, 2 titanium. Okay, we need 3 more iron. Another good thing to know while you're in the menu, it does pause in-game, so you don't continue to lose health and all that. That is not what I meant to grab. Now, when you throw them back on the ground like that, you can just pick them back up. You don't have to repurpose. And this is going to be a little close to get back before we're out of here. We'll be fine, but it's one of those things that when you're not used to it, it does make you a little nervous until it starts slowing way down. Okay, the next thing to make is going to be our exosuit, which we need magnesium for, which we don't have room for because we just went for storage units. So we need to do this. If you're not sure which direction you're building, you just run them lengthwise. Probably eat something. Alright. So, to do our exoskeleton, we need a magnesium. What do you know? There's normally a bunch of them just outside front door. That's one of the ones that we actually have to manually equip, and we just dropped it because we're an idiot and hit the wrong button. So we gotta pull one of these off to put that on, so we can put that back on. It's a little bit weird. You'll get used to it. For right now, I'm just offloading some stuff. I need to go get some ice so I can make a bunch of waters. Because early game food and water are hard to get. Pretty sure we didn't make a flashlight yet, but we need to start clearing some of the wrecks for just food and stuff. One of the things that a lot of the wrecks and chests have are blueprints, which you can take to your primary blueprint station, and they're little microchips, and you can use them for decoding. It'll unlock you new recipes, stuff like that. Now, on a different topic for the moment, there are places in the map, one of them's up there, we'll go look here in a minute, that you cannot reach early game. Instead of having stuff like zone restricted by level or, that situation, they encase them in giant glaciers. The glaciers melt when you reach an appropriate heat temperature, and then eventually they defrost off and you can get access to it. All of your late game stuff is buried behind glacier walls. Ooh, I don't know where I'm going. I'm zoning. So, control click. Water bottles. Right click, good to go. Food and water. Ultimately, you'll get a better system for everything later. Power. If we build anything else, it's going to need more power. Our blueprint. So down here, it says if you find any microchips, you can decode them. We are 1 KTI is going to be the first step after TI. So we're almost to the solar panels. We are nowhere near that. We're getting there on that. Pressure, tier 2 drills, we're halfway to that. So that's kind of the progression to start. One of the things that you will want is they're not, never mind, they're not locked yet, or they're still locked. You'll have to decide how big of a storage unit you want to make. So ignoring all that for the moment, I need to grab some silicone, a couple of titaniums, and coincidentally 3 iron. I'm going to show you guys the next zone that you need to know about. Now, part of you is going to be wondering, like, hey, when we run out of all the resources, what in the world then? Well, you get extractors. You get giant drills for boring into the earth. That you can harvest resources from. There's plenty of stuff out there. You don't really have to worry about like running out unless you do something crazy. My original plan was to loot that whole section down there before it turns into a lake. I got bored. I do recommend having a storage facility, preferably not as widespread as mine, because later in the game you can unlock some stuff, but it'll craft a recipe within proximity, and you need all your stuff, in a reasonable proximity. I think it's got like a 60 meter range or a 30 or something, so I mean you've got some room. All this shiny over here is aluminum. This is your primary aluminum field. I'm not going to say the only aluminum field, but it's your primary aluminum field. When you start getting to super alloys and stuff like that, this is where you're going to want to be. There's another wreck down in there. You can see there's some chests. Normally I set up houses somewhere within visibility, like right here. I've got line of sight of my other one. So even though I could go a lot further, it's a lot easier to track. And then if I'm planning on clearing the zone, I'll put a few storage chests in here, loot everything, run back, drop it all here, and then I can shuttle whatever I need back to the main house. So on my map, you'll see random little huts everywhere. Here's a helpful tip: if you're done with the chest, break it down. You get iron and resources out of it. Here's our aluminum. You don't need aluminum quite yet. Honestly, you need the iridium more, so definitely start there. And then the one after iridium is going to be uranium. There's a couple spots for that around. We'll get into that later. As you're starting out, so here's our solar panels. So this, you see the jump on this, 1.2 per second versus 6.5 per second. So my entire power supply I have right now will fit on one of these. So obviously, the next thing to do is go get a piece of cobalt and set one of those up. And you do this balancing game legitimately all the way through the whole game. Up until like the very end, because you can get some boosters that massively increase your output on whatever that is, whether that be heat, whether that be power, whatever. So, I mean, those little fusion reactors I've got, or the fusion generators, fission reactors, whatever they are, I can tell you right now, my brain's not working. Oh, I forgot how small these are. So this thing is worth all those right there. So if I jump inside now, I'm at 4.8 kilos on my 4 wind turbines, and I'm at 6.5 for, I've got a reserve 7.5. So that one is worth all of those. Now if I break all those down, I get 4 iron. But to make more of these, I need silicones and I need cobalt. Luckily, all of them are in large supply. So while we're thinking about it, let's go craft out a couple more. Break down the ones we don't need. And have some spare power running for a little while. Well, if we have spare power, what should we do with it? Well, we can either make more drills or make more heaters or make both. Do what you can to try to keep them building semi-uniformly. The last game, the only reason I won is because, well, I mean, the only reason I extracted so quickly was because I had more heaters than I could possibly need, and those put me over the terraforming requirement. So, that's just something to think about. Oh, we're gonna need some iron too, aren't we? Yep. What do we got? 2, 4, 5. We need one more. That'll give us 3, so I need one more cobalt and 2 more iron. Okay. A long walk back to the house. So, I mean, there's definitely a feel for it. The learning curve is super easy on this game. As you start getting bigger stuff and better stuff, you can progress further and further out, clear the outside wrecks, stuff like that. It's definitely helpful. Early game, I'd collect a bunch of iron and get some, some of these houses built because you're going to need them, especially if this is where your base is going to be. So there's your quick rotate, and then if you hold control, it's supposed to let you just keep building. There we go. We're out. Break these guys down. So you'll have to go to your deconstruct menu. there's those. What do we need for these? So let's go grab 4 more titanium. And we'll build a few heaters. Whatever we've got iridium for. And inevitably, as soon as you start harvesting to work on one thing, you unlock something else and you change gears. And you're like, oh, I just built a whole bunch of tier 1s, but now I unlock tier 2s. But in order to build tier 2s, I have to have da-da-da-da. I don't have the stuff for that, so I guess we're not doing that right now. So now, if we look at our terraforming, we're going up. Pressure is reasonably going up because we just built a whole bunch of drills. Drills raise our pressure. Oxygen's not doing anything because the only thing that we've got that makes oxygen is a stupid little veggie tube. And it's clearly stated, insert a seed in this device to generate O2. So that's not helpful. So we might as well see about making some heaters. We should still have 3 or 4 iridium. We've got 4 iridium. So to do that, we're gonna eat something and drink something. We got 4 iridium. So we need 4 iron and 4 silicone. And then we can craft up the 4 heaters. That'll pretty much wipe our resources for the moment. And then we can go back to doing other things. Alright, we should have enough to craft out all 4 of our heaters, which will start jumping up our heat pretty quick. Helps if we actually pick up the iridium. It's weird that way. Alright. Now our heat is going up. I mean, we just quadrupled our heat. So we're starting to climb at a decent rate there. We still got 16 kilowatts available because we made a bunch of panels. We're only using 10 of our 26. So, that's kind of that. Tier 3 backpack at 2.5, we're nowhere near there. Indoor ladder, parts per trillion, we're nowhere near that. We are going to get to this one here shortly. So as soon as we can do that, we'll break down the tier 1 plant tier 2 and use our seed there. This is our progress screen, which is, I think it's in, pretty sure the heat's measured in kelvins, so I'm not sure what this one is, but NK seems like nanokelvins. So that's, I mean, that's going to be a ways out. We're just about to hit 500, so that should be 4 times that. Tier 2 oxygen tank, we've already got. Tier 2 drill, we're going to unlock that actually soon. So then we can get that going. So, let's see, we hang out for a minute here. Tier 2 veggie tube. Perfect. What do we need to make it? 2 ice and iron and magnesium and a silicone. So, we need 1 ice, 1 silicone. Because if we break down the one that's up there, we get all those back. Ice is pretty common down here, otherwise it's around the corner. Now, the later in the game you get, the hotter it gets, the less ice you find. But by that point, you have different ways of crafting water, and none of your resources require ice. They did a really decent all-in-all job of balancing what levels require what. So, in order to deconstruct, we've got to take the seed out, deconstruct that, jump back in. That was tier 1, that's not helpful. Tier 2, boom, done. So, oxygen at 0.15 per second versus 1.2 per second. Really sizable jump. So anytime you can unlock the next tier up, I highly recommend it. With that being said, let's see. Oh, torch microchip. Yeah, I need to actually go make that. That would be good to do before I forget. That's nanogelvin. We've got a little bit of time there. This one's the next one that's close. We'll stick around for the same reason on that. Meanwhile, we need to make our... We should have a tier 2 backpack and a tier 2 oxygen tank, but let's go ahead and double check. The bars are also indicative of that. So you got the 2 lines here. I don't know how it works on those because it's a little bit different. So, 2 magnesium and a silicone for a flashlight. Need to find some iron while I'm down here. There's a piece of iron. Almost everything requires silicone. You go through so much iron and silicone, even in mid-game. Never hurts to have just laying around. And if you get a bunch of iron, you can turn it into chests. Saves you some inventory time. And we should probably be getting back. There's our tier 2 drill. So if we look at these, tier 1, 0.2 per second at a half cost. That one adds heat plus pressure. It goes from 0.2 per second to 1.5 per second, but the energy cost is 10 times as much. Ooh, tier 3 backpack. That's priority. 2 aluminum. Hey, what do you know? We have aluminum. Aluminum is extremely necessary early on. Okay, so now we decided we need 2 titaniums and an iron, so we need an extra titanium per drill. What do we have in our inventory here? Not much that we need. If you control and click, it will auto move everything out. We need to go titanium farming. Because we only need the 1 extra titanium per drill. We've got, what, 6 drills over there, so I need 5 more titanium. Then I can strip this all down, make those all tier 2s, and we'll probably be over our... I know we'll be over our electrical cost because we've only got 16 points, and these are 5 per. So then we've got to make a couple more tier 2 solar panels. Okay, so I need 1 more. Okay, that takes care of that. 4, 7, I can count. Tier 2 solar panels, iron, silicone, and cobalt. So, silicone, 2. We need another iron now. Silicone. We need 2 cobalts and another iron. There we go. We should have enough to convert all the tier 2 drills, plus make 2, I believe 2 more solar panels. So first step is stop at the base and get air. If you break down stuff and you do not have the inventory space, it will throw it all on the ground and then you can pick it up as you see fit. Shouldn't be a problem with us. We're going to go ahead and start with the extra panels. It frees up the most inventory space. I don't know why it's not remembering what direction we're in, but whatever. Switch over to deconstruct. Deconstruct. It's still annoying, so I try not to overdo it too much. Deconstruct a couple at a time. Make new ones. Get some more water. Alright, so with that being said, we're at 1.25 kilos because we knew that those were going to take up 5 at a time. So we're actually really close. We're not like colossally overbuilt in one direction or another. We get to those solar panels in a while. We're at 4 KTI. We need 17.5. We're getting to that, but that's not helpful. So the first thing that we need is that. We're a long ways from that. We are a ways from that. Obviously, we're halfway to that. So, good just start setup. Obviously, you know you're going to need more resources to build more stuff, but at the same point, you have no idea unless you memorize all the recipes or you have a cheat sheet handy. You have no idea what you're actually going to need, so it's really hard to farm the extra resources. So for that, you know, play it by ear. Expand your building as you need to, explore as you need to. Definitely get a feel for the different biomes. Just find one of the maps that tells you where they're at. Some of them are locked, some of them are not. But then when you're like, hey, this is starting to take this resource, boom. It just saves some time later without exploring the whole map and being like, hey, I wonder what I need this for, and bringing it all back and realizing I don't need this for another 20 hours. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video. I just kind of wanted to do kind of an intro to it. I will very likely be on it periodically, but I just kind of wanted to throw it out there and let people browse that as they see fit. So, I'm going to jump off. You guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you later.